I wanted to talk about in early 2026, should you buy cameras like the FX30, the A7C II, and the Sony A7S III, which is what we're recording on right now. Before we even jump into specs or anything like that, the first thing we need to think about in this conversation is not if the camera is old. It's more along the lines of what are you going to be doing with the camera? And once you understand what you're going to be doing with the camera, it makes this whole purchasing decision extremely easy. So let's jump into a small framework that you can use to make the decision. And the first question is, what are you going to do with this camera and how are you going to use it? The faster you can understand that, the easier it is to make this decision. So the first thing you need to decide is, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing photography? Are you going to be doing video? Or are you going to be doing a combination of the two, right? Once you understand that, you kind of go into buckets: photography, video, right down the line where you need specs and features from both. In my opinion, if you're photography first, the A7 IV, the brand new camera that was just recently released from Sony, is going to be better than these options. Obviously, the Sony A7S III that we're looking at here is 12 megapixels, and it's not the best for photography unless you're doing stuff for like social media and you're a hybrid or primarily video focused person. But if you're on the photography side, the A7 V, which is less than the A7S III in 2026, it's going to be a better option for you. But if money is not a problem or money's not an issue at all, the Sony A1 Mark II is the best camera for photography right now. But where that changes, right, is size or, the way that you use your camera. The Sony A7C II is going to be good for you. It's extremely small and lightweight. You're going to be able to take this camera into sporting venues like, the NBA stadiums and different things like that. And people aren't going to think you're a professional. They're getting paid. And so you're not going to be turned away at the door for the most part. Now, that's not a blanket statement, but I was able to take this into like the Georgia Tech Stadium and the Georgia Stadium and different places like that without people even blinking an eye. If the size is a thing for you, then this would still be a good option for you. But just being transparent, I think the A7 V is going to be a better option than that. And if money's not an issue, then the A1 Mark II. Now, video is where this conversation gets interesting, right? Because these three cameras that we're talking about are really good at video. And no, they don't have open gate, but that doesn't change anything in 2026 as far as these cameras are concerned. Now, when you're thinking about video, the FX30 is probably the best option, even though the A7S III is, the better sensor for video. 12 megapixels, bigger pixels, better light, lower light condition, etc. However, this one has dual ISO. This one has the cinema style body, which gives you all the different attachments where you can add different pieces to your camera. It has the built-in fan. It has the Big 6 menu. It has different tally lights and things like that around the body of the camera that's going to help you understand when you're recording and when you're not. You would not believe how many times that can be an issue. But it has the best codecs. It also has 4K 60, 4K 120, and 4K 30, 1080, and all 240, and all those slow motion things that you need in a cinema camera. It's built like a tank. It lasts. It takes a beating. I've had this since almost launch, and it still looks brand new and beautiful, even though I use this all the time. I think the only wear is on the cap from being in the bag and stuff. But this is an excellent camera. Now, the A7S III, low light beast. Right? 12,800 ISO, double ISO, base ISO, allows you to basically see in the dark. That is still relevant in 2026. There is still not a camera that really can dethrone it from a low light scenario. 4K 30, 4K 60, 4K 120, all the codecs, all the all the frame rates, all of the things that you need in that camera. Lastly, about video, the FX30 is an APS-C crop sensor. But I don't see that as an issue because in sports and what I do, it gives me a little bit more reach. And so it turns this 35 to 150 into a basically a 50 to 200-ish range. And then it changes this 70 to 200 into a 105 to 300. And so like between those two lenses, I get everything that I need. And so it gives me a range where if I'm on the baseline and things like that, I can still be close enough to get good action, but I can also go out into the middle of the stadium and still get down to the court with no issue, right? And so APS-C is only an issue if you don't plan for it. And that's where this camera comes in, because the A7C II is actually a phenomenal hybrid camera. Has 7K downsampled to 4K, so it's crispy clean. It looks amazing. This camera gives such beautiful video. It's 4K 30 full frame, but then it's a crop when you go to 4K 60. And that's where the planning comes into place, because as long as you have the appropriate lenses, APS-C and full frame really don't matter. Let's address the elephant in the room, which is the waiting game, right? And the reason it's so hard to pull the trigger on one of these is because something may release soon, right? I completely feel you on that, and I completely understand. NAB is right around the corner in April. I don't believe there's going to be an FX32. It's not the next in line the way that Sony does their releases. I don't believe there's going to be an A7C III. It's not the next in line the way that Sony does their releases. The only, I guess wild card would be, is there going to be a Sony A7S IV released around NAB? And I really think that based on what the Sony A7S III is, or the FX3, if you're FX3A, if you decide in between those two bodies, if you don't need open gate, I think you're completely fine with just moving forward, because they're still the best in low light. They still give you exactly what you need. And so unless you're just waiting for open gate or a potential stacked sensor or an update to the 12 megapixel sensor in the FX3 and the EV1 and the Sony A7S III, there's no reason to wait, right? So go ahead and pull the plug or pull the trigger. Can you say that on YouTube? I'm not sure. So in early 2026, should you buy one of these cameras? And the answer is yes. As long as you buy it with intention and you know exactly what you need out of your camera, buy the camera for the features you need today, right? Not what you think you may need later, but what you actually need today, and that will make the decision easy for you. Now, the biggest thing about cameras, they do not become obsolete when they get older. They become obsolete when they can no longer give you what you need in the content that you are creating. If you can still use a Sony A7S III, FX30, or A7C II in 2026, it is still a great purchase for you, a phenomenal purchase for you. But if it doesn't offer you the features that you're looking for, then that's when the decision is no. But if it is, then it's a good purchase. So, if you enjoyed today's conversation and you like thought-provoking conversations like this, again, I'm only here to give honest and transparent buyer-focused conversations and reviews, and my goal is always only to give you enough information to make an educated decision. So if you enjoyed today's conversation and you're new to the channel, consider subscribing below. But as always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.